Okay, well, welcome to the node.js Community Build Work Group Meeting, 30th of May, 2017. So far, we have present Michael Dawson, myself, Jao Rice, Gibson Feinchuk, Rod Vag, Michael Capra, Kuno Patek, Kyle Ferning, Rich Trott from the minutes, and I think I also saw Raphael as well. Have I missed anybody else from the list? No? Okay. We might as well move on to the standard agenda. So just the startup. I'll go first. So I've been starting to work on the Ansible scripts to add ZOS, these ZOS machines we have. Reached out to another potential Mac provider and a little bit of work around getting more of the benchmarking team participants to work with the benchmarking CI jobs. Jao, you're next.
Hey, so I've been working to add Ubuntu and OS X to the Node Chakra Core test job, and I've changed the Node Chakra Core nightly release server to Ubuntu 14.04 and opened the PR with the changes that I had to do in Ansible to get it working. I added Visual Studio 2017 to the CI test matrix now that support has landed. Fixed rebasing in the Canary in the Goldmine job. And I'm working on a new job to replace Node Stress single test that should be more flexible and allow us to test more Windows configurations at least. Gibson?
Yep, so this week was mostly just minor things with Jenkins where occasional machines having problems with building, bring things back online, and had to change somehow how the SitGem build was working because of the ESLint issue we had, and also there's some other issues on AX. Basically, cloning Node into a Node subdirectory fixed that. Yep, that's me.
Okay.
Michele?
Yep. I haven't been very active in recent weeks. Been busy with work. And my goal is still testing the TPR that we merged from Joan, and still testing it on Windows. That is the part that we need the most. Yeah, that's my update.
Hey, Johan?
Hey, sorry for being late. Is it me?
Yeah, you.
Okay, cool. I guess the biggest thing I did was just merging the PR as a result of our previous meeting. I've done some minor review, and I've been awfully busy with work as well. Later today, I'm going to update the Clang version on our FreeBSD 10 builders because as a result of jumping to V858, it's not building properly. So I haven't been too active.
Okay, progress. Okay, Kyle?
So I don't think there's too much from Kunal and I on this front, but I'll let Kunal. He would have more.
I mean, like, even I don't have much. We were just like trying out the Node Chakra core to be get built on Ubuntu 14.4, and Joe helped us to like get that thing working in the CI. So yeah, not much from our side, but just like trying to make the Node Chakra core build release story. So yeah.
Okay, so if I take notes, it's basically trying to get the Chakra Core builds working for Ubuntu 14.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Rod.
Yeah, the biggest thing I did was bring up 2 new CentOS 6 boxes, split them across SoftLayer and DigitalOcean. SoftLayer doesn't do 32-bit CentOS 6, which is interesting. Okay. So those are attached to CI release for building release binaries, and I hacked Jenkins up to choose those build nodes if building node 8 and above. So and also made it so that the CentOS 5 boxes are not chosen for 8 and above. So that means we are getting now libc 2.12 compatibility as a minimum for Node 8 and above, and ditching CentOS 5 for that because it's no longer supported. But we are going to continue supporting CentOS 5 builds for the remainder of Node 4 and Node 6. So those are stable. But there's a discussion thread on GitHub. There's a lot of nuance to this. So look in the build repo for the discussion thread on that.
Right. So, okay. But yeah, it's good to be able to move forward on 8 without having to close on that. I think last person, Raphael.
I think Raphael said he was just observing.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah. Okay. So did I miss anybody? No? Okay. I guess we can move on to our agenda items then. The first one is issue 711, which is to add Michelle Capra to the build work group. I'm just going to open that up to see what the existing discussion was. I can see from that we have +1 for myself, Joe. I think Gibson, were you?
I'll just comment to explicitly say, but yes, +1 for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
So I guess yeah, at this point is, basically unless there's any objections, I think that should move forward. I'll take silence as no objections. So we'll say agreed in the meeting. We'll make that happen. Welcome. Okay. Welcome. Next issue. Make regular canary builds with V8 626. So I'm going to, what happened to that? Okay.
Yep. This one was just to make sure there were no objections to doing this. It's basically a nightly, but using Node Master and V8 Canary, or last known good release, or whatever, the one that we're updating every night. We've got the tests running now, so yeah, it'd be good to have a release that people can actually test. So yeah, does anyone have any objections to that? Are we worried about our Node.js.org mount getting too full if we're doing multiple builds every night? Don't know.
So this is like publishing like on the release, yeah, okay. Because we've already got them running in our nightly, well, we've got a job at least that will run those periodically,
yeah, we're
right?
building and testing every night.
Right. So this is about actually making sort of a nightly type release that's the canary.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this would be like a CI release. Would it be another trigger for that, or yeah? Basically, I'm not sure how it would work.
I suspect it's just another trigger, right?
Yeah, we trigger it from the web server. There's a cron job in there that does the calculation as to whether we need it, makes the right commit, and then requests from Jenkins remotely. It's not hard to add at all. Like, it's just a matter of specifying the branch. I can turn that on in 2 seconds if you want that.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
I guess is this in a special job in Jenkins? Is it?
So there's a job in.
Hang on. It's in
there's a job in test Jenkins that updates the branch, and then like there's a special repo called node-v8, which is just Node Master with the latest V8. So that gets updated every night. So I guess after it gets updated, we want to then do a release build.
Okay, so the Jenkins job pulls from Node Master and V8 LKGR.
Yep.
And then merges them together and pushes to that repo. So if that repo is updated, then assume it's good to go. Okay, that's okay. Might need a little bit of fiddling with, but if we're agreeing to that, then I can.
Yeah. So presumably, if one of the builds fails in the release, then it will just not get uploaded, right? It won't cause any issues otherwise.
Yeah, I guess we also need a new download location. So
yeah, what does that go into?
Name.
Like another nightly or something else?
Yeah, it's not, because it's not really. Because if it goes up as in the current format, it'll go up with just the version number plus commit plus date, and the version number will be version 8 for now. Actually, probably be version 9 once this gets bumped. But that's not what we want, because it'll look wrong. It should go into a different directory.
Yeah, because will that overwrite the current nightlies?
Could be.
No, it won't overwrite them because the commits will be different.
It's a different hash. Yeah, okay.
It'll just be listed amongst them, and you won't be able
Right.
to tell the difference. So we need a name for this for the download site.
It's probably Canary.
It's got to have something about V8 in it.
Yeah, maybe V8 Canary.
So is LKGR, is that actually Canary?
You mean the one that
Canary was
matches
a special brand?
the Google one?
I think LKGR, isn't LKGR the last one that's passed a CI run, and Canary is something.
Yeah.
So I think LKGR is basically master, and Canary is like the next most stable thing. But I could be wrong. This is kind of where we need Targos to. I think he knows more about this.
So it may be like, first of all, are there any objections to going forward with this?
Oh wait, did Ovrobots just join the call, Ali?
Yes, I did.
Oh, hey, perfect timing. We were just talking about V8 and what the difference between LKGR and Canary is, and that we don't know.
And I guess the context is, if we're going to make a Canary build of Node with the latest V8, we're just trying to figure out what it should be called on the download site.
So LKGR is the last known good revision. So basically, the way V8 and Chrome builds work is Chrome regularly picks up a new version of V8, but not every commit. So they basically bunch up a bunch of commits, and there's more testing done on them. And if Chrome testing looks good, then it rolls into a Chrome version. So last known good revision is from the V8 point of view, a good revision for Chrome. So the last known good revision ultimately rolls into a Canary build, but Canary builds are even less frequent, right? So they might be once a day kind of a thing, whereas an LKGR is multiple times a day. So it's, I think the name Canary might be a bit better for anything that's available to users, because that means more things to, like that people already know what that means. And LKGR might be a bit too opaque.
I mean, we probably need to have V8 in the name as well, so it's like V8 Canary.
Yep, sounds reasonable.
I guess the first question I thought was like, will there be any confusion with the Canary stream for V8/Chrome?
I don't think so, because when you look at Chrome Canary, so it's not fixed which version of V8 you're going to get. It's every day it's going to be different. So whether there's a confusion between LKGR and Canary, I don't think so, because there's no Chrome LKGR. It's always Canary. So LKGR is just an internal mechanism that V8 uses to promote builds. It's just a tagging mechanism.
And it's so essentially we will be giving you pretty much what's in Canary, Chrome Canary. So, well, if it works anyway. So if we call it V8 Canary, then that's not actually that far off the truth if people are confusing it with Chrome Canary.
Okay. So it sounds like it's the right answer. Okay, so Rod, were you volunteering to do that?
I am, but it's going to take a little bit more work now, because introducing a new name for these download folders is also always a bit messy. So I'm going to have to look at how to do that. It may even require a pull request to Node Core because of the way that Makefile is messed up in all this process.
A note that it's a bit more complicated due to the new naming structure. Take a bit longer. Okay. More to discuss on that front?
And we'll need to also update the node.js org to add a new link.
Yeah, I think that's part of, well, you mean the main download?
Yeah. like on the node.js org/download page, are we going to provide a new link to download the canary, create
We have a
canary,
link there for
nightly
nightly.
builds? Yeah, nightlies and node chakra code nightly. So do we want to add a third link for create canary?
Yeah, there is a link to nightly build, so we could do that. How about we get it going first and then answer that question later?
Sounds good to me.
Yep, me too.
Let's do it.
Okay. So moving on to the next issue. So new meeting time for the build work group, 698. So I had sent out a query on that front. Unfortunately, not totally surprisingly, there's no really good time. So I put it on the agenda today for us to see if we can sort of look through what's there and agree on something that makes everybody the least unhappy. So if you want to open up the spreadsheet, there isn't like a number at the bottom that sort of shows just purely adding the numbers, although it is as marked up in all of them. It's not necessarily a good metric for selecting a time. I think the real problem is that there's actually no time that's gonna. There's a zeros for somebody at every time.
I mean, I'm thinking like Asia time-ish, not mentioning ROD in the sentence, but like that would be the biggest discrepancy. Couldn't we do like an alternation? So we do like one meeting we just do as is for now, and then the other meeting we would add a couple of hours.
Right. So that's
So we
that's
alternate.
one of our options. You know,
If it's inconvenient, that would like work out pretty well.
Yeah, maybe our only option is to basically say, okay, we'll have 2 meeting times, right?
Yeah, at the added cost of perhaps like we miss out or something, but I guess we could try to do reminders and stuff.
Right.
I was looking at the time zone, Johan, and it seems to me that we should move 2 hours back. Or am I wrong?
I can't access the document right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the document.
I'm looking at it now, and I guess Kunal is refilling.
Yeah, we time zone mishap.
Okay, so maybe it's not quite as bad as we.
Yeah,
thought.
sorry about that.
So in that case, now is the perfect time, it looks like.
Well, except for Rod.
Yeah,
still
sorry.
Sounds like a
So
bad
maybe
time, right?
So if we were an hour later, that would be better for Rod.
Yeah, it will be midnight for me.
Yeah, worse for you and me. It looks like this time is kind of the only one that, around this time is kind of the only one that works.
Yeah.
We
Although
could maybe,
I'm still wondering if we should, like, you know, do the alternating this one and 1 hour later, right? Because it seems like 1 hour later is much better for Rod. Okay, it's a little worse for some of the rest of us, but you know, if we did that, that might work out better.
Yeah, I would try that solution, alternating, and let's see how it goes.
Later, right? Because right now we're at 20. What time is it UTC? We started.
It's 20.
It's 20.
20. Okay, so it would have to be 2 hours later, I think, to make it significantly better for Rod, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we could say, like, you know, the current time, and then 2 hours later, and we could like alternate between those two. Is that a reasonable balance?
Works for me.
Yeah.
I guess, Michele.
I mean, I can't guarantee, but yeah, let's try it. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I think it means that not everybody can make every meeting, but it's probably a little fairer than some people.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. It's fair. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so we'll say say we'll alternate between 4 Eastern and 6 Eastern. Is that the agreement?
Sure. Yeah, that's 8 and 10 UTC, right?
Yeah, it's 20 UTC and 22 UTC. I think, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, well, if that's good for everybody, then let's stick on that, and it makes it a little bit harder to remember when it is, but I think, we'll get used to it, so. Okay, let's take the notes on that front. Oh, where are we? Sorry, I'm just gonna flip back to wherever the window was at the meeting. Here we go. Agree to alternate. What was it? It was 20 and 22 UTC. Next meeting will be at 20 UTC. Okay. Any other comments, discussion on that issue?
How does the official calendar get updated? Does one of us have to have access to that?
I would say William, who's on the call, I think, right? No, he's not. Sorry, I thought wrong picture.
He's in a board meeting right now, so.
Yeah. So William would be the one that I would normally ping. I think he keeps it up to date. And so I think we tell him, and he might be able to tell us if we can do something ourselves. But I think so far it's always been tell him, and he'll get it updated.
Actually, that does bring up a good point. The only reason it wouldn't have worked for me in the past because the board meeting is on in this slot if it lines up on the same week. But I'm not in the board meeting anymore. So that's fine, but it does mean that if we go back, like if we have 2 hours later, then that lines up with the public portion of the board meeting for the occasional week. Does that matter for any reason?
I mean, they're both on YouTube, right? Oh no, sorry, the board meeting isn't, but this one's on YouTube, so people can come back and watch it, I guess. They want to catch both.
Right, you're saying that 2200 conflicts with the board meeting?
The public section of the board meeting, yeah. So
right,
if anyone wanted to be in both. Actually, I guess the connection details for the public board meeting are not really public, so yeah, it's probably not a big deal. Unless somebody from the board wanted to attend this meeting, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think that'll be fine. They can always attend the other one, right? Like the alternate week.
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. So yeah, so I'll take the volunteer, Michael, to contact. Okay. Right, so that was the things that were on the workgroup agenda. Any other issues people have to add in?
I was thinking about if we want to discuss the Mac support in the cloud, since we are already here with ROG.
Sure.
Yeah, there's an issue for that, isn't there?
Yeah. We have been discussing that. That's why I was thinking about it's a good place.
Right, I'd sent an email off to the Mac and Cloud, I think, just to say, hey, you generously donated to the Adopt OpenJDK project. I got yesterday I submitted to support. I got the, hey, yeah, we're going to send this on. Haven't heard back from them yet. I guess we're already in discussions with Mac Stadium, right, Rod?
Right, but yeah, I'm responsible for dragging my heels on that one, unfortunately.
I'll chip in on that as well.
Yeah, maybe Yeah, maybe we should loop in Michael to that as well, that discussion, Johan, just to make sure it keeps going. I mean, just to rehash yet again, and maybe there's someone here that can help out on this. The reason we're stalling is because Max Stadium wanted something in return for sponsorship, basically, which is fair. They want to, they just don't want to throw it because they don't have a stake in Node, like a lot of other providers do. And so we were, they wanted a foundation membership, which we've, ruled out basically. That it's not something you can get from this group. And so what I was hoping for was to be able to build a stronger case for sponsors, and so that would mean, because the only way there's two ways right now you get published, you get your name published. One is in our Jenkins stuff. The name of the provider is in the Jenkins machines, and they regularly get passed around, so that they're well known by collaborators particularly. And then there's the build working group README. And that's really the only place. What I wanted to do was take the content from that README or something similar and push it onto the node.js.org website and have a page maybe in under about or something to say these are our donors, hardware donors, thank you to them. And so that we could then go back to Max Stadium and other potential donors and say, here's basically a prospectus. This is what you get in return for being so generous, when we will promote you in these ways. And we could even point to some blog posts that we've done occasionally that mention providers. But because we have a kind of our prospectus is kind of embarrassing at the moment. It's just not very extensive. Like, have your name on our README.
Right.
It was difficult to get back to their last email saying, oh, can we have a foundation membership? No, but you can have a mention on our README. So yeah, that was the thing. And I was going to do the whole website thing, but maybe there's someone on here that could take that README content, put it on the website, so we mention our donors, both the corporate but also individual donors that have donated hardware to the build cluster.
I think that's good. Any volunteers to do that?
And maybe this couldn't be an automated thing. Maybe the website could actually scrape our README and pull that section on, and then we could edit our README and it's only one place. Yeah, that's an idea.
Or if we move it to the website, do we need it in our README?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe just link to the website and say, look at all these donors.
Just say, here's the one. All of our sponsors are over here. Hopefully, it's a more prominent place anyway.
Yeah, I put a link to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Johan.
Sorry. Yeah, the fact that it's in our README for everybody that comes in and are involved in seeing what we do. But yeah, I don't have a preference with the website being the primary updater of this, and then we can kind of trail along if we have to.
Is there any way we can even, through, I don't know how flexible GitHub is, but if we could basically show the same page in a frame or something rather than having to update two places?
No, GitHub's not that flexible, but the website is. So the website has a build process, and it already does some scraping for Node versions. So it wouldn't be hard to make the website subservient to our README, and then we just and then that actually opens up, that gives us ownership of that page without having to go through the website working group. We just update our section of that, but maybe we have little tags in there that say just this section, and then anyone in this working group can merge stuff into our README.
We could always pull sponsors out to a sponsors markdown, link to it from the README, so we don't have to care about parsing stuff.
But then we've got the problem of having to update our own README, so we have to have a script or something for that.
Oh yeah. Oh, you meant expanding it? I was thinking.
Well, if we were to make changes on our end, do we have to then update the JSON file and the README?
Yeah.
Anyway, but maybe somebody can put up their hand and come up with a proposal here.
I guess the worst / most shared case would be generating an image that we then embed. I'm not saying this is a good idea, but I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. If we just had an image that could link into both of them, that would be pretty easy to do.
Then you've got to update the image.
Yeah, but at least it embeds everywhere.
Yeah, you basically do it once. I don't know how hard it is to update that image versus all the other things. But yeah.
I think the person that wants to take this on can come up with a suggestion, and I'm happy to feedback.
So this doesn't have to be a build member, right? This could, if this can be something on the
Be
website,
anyone.
this could be anyone. We could just raise it as a good first contribution, you know, in theory, issue that anyone can sort of pick up.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have an issue for it either. Maybe we need to have an issue and actually move that to a separate discussion, so that we, rather than having this whole thing held up by that, that thing can be pushed forward independently.
Why don't we go ahead?
So, okay.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, so I was saying perhaps we can talk to these sponsors in Canada and see, you know, get some kind of feedback in terms of, you know, is this interesting? Does this help with visibility?
Right. I was thinking maybe we open an issue in the Node.js org saying we'd like to do this. Any volunteers to help out?
And the website, actually, you might find somebody there, because there is a bunch of people there that are looking for things to do.
Yeah, and you know, it's sort of GUI interest, you know. So I'd say let's throw it out. You know, since nobody's jumping up and down here to say that they want to do it, let's throw it out there. See if somebody does. If not, you know, well.
Yeah, I can create the issue for that if you want. Node.js
Okay.
org.
Sure. The other, I mean, I guess, so that's one aspect. I mean, is there any notion of letting providers put something on their website saying they're a Node.js infrastructure sponsor?
That's a good one.
You know, a little logo or whatever. Or, I mean, just thinking of things we can do that gives them prominence without, you know, being too complicated. Or...
Yeah, like a badge almost. Says
exactly, yeah.
I mean, we can come up with some language and say, you are, as a contributor, you are authorized to use this language. That, and maybe the language is a proud sponsor of the nodejs.org project.
Right. I think something visual though is probably gonna.
But see, now you get into the problem. You're asking really low-level technical nerds to do something visual.
Well, they could do. I guess
so
they could do either.
This is
right?
like we're going to come up with some, you know, 80s level open source logo.
Actually, I'm thinking more. We go back to the, you know, we get maybe go back to Tracy and say, hey, we need the foundation to come up with some help to.
Yeah, I was thinking also about doing something from the official Twitter accounts, maybe just a thanks every month or whatever to the sponsor that are supporting. But then, yeah, we need to keep in touch with Tracy to understand if it's feasible or not.
Yeah, that was another one that I like, as well as, like, you know, we could say every, I don't know, maybe it's not every month, but, or, you know, every 3 months or something, there's a Twitter that says thank you and has the link to the sponsor page, that kind of stuff. I can take the action to talk with Tracy over what we can do on this front. Does that makes sense?
Sounds good.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I think they should be able to help us, you know, say we want to do this, but we need help designing a logo and getting the legal whatever okays to use the logo that way. We'll see what they say. Any other good ideas on what we can promise people?
I was thinking about also, I remember you last time doing a talk about the build working group at Node Interactive. Yep. Maybe there, if you're talking and doing any public speaking about the build working group, saying another slide, saying thanks to the sponsor that are supporting us.
Yeah, so I definitely did that in the last one, and I think Gibson, you have one accepted this year on that topic, so we can make sure to do the same thing, right?
Yeah, seems reasonable.
What interesting side angle would be if we could, an interesting way of marketing the sponsor specifically would be, using their permutations of platform or whatever to do something interesting or unique. If we're building a very unique version of an ARM that we test against, that's a pretty interesting case for like a wider audience to use that platform. I'm just saying that the sponsorship and sponsors could be encouraged into thinking about ways to leverage our partnership.
Yeah, and we can do like blog posts and stuff, and we've done them in the past. I've done things about ARM in the past and mentioned donors. We can do them regularly. I think we can, because I think this group actually has some really interesting things to discuss that people would love to hear from. And like anyone in this group that's doing anything active on build, the kind of stuff you're doing, even though it feels boring, I reckon put that on the Node blog or Medium or whatever, and people would lap that stuff up. And we can mention our sponsors in that, not in a subversive way, but we just call them out and say we're really thankful for these sponsors, and they contribute to the work we do in this area that I'm talking about in this way. And having that as part of our prospectus would be great. Like we can say regularly get mentioned in articles and blog posts.
Right. So what could we concretely say on that front? Like we're going to publish a blog. It's because I think we need. Just saying we'll do it in blogs is not good enough. It's sort of like, well, there's one a month or one a quarter, say, and
I'm hesitant to make commitment there because writing is one of those things that it's hard to make people like. So what I think the way I would approach it is just say something like regular mentions in articles and then point to examples of that, and so like to show that this does happen. We're not committing to it happening at a particular frequency, but you will get mentioned at some point, like we have done in the past. So we have to be able to point to things, which we can do. They're just a bit old. So, being able to do it more regularly would be great. But on that front, actually, you guys that are doing stuff, just doing write-ups. If you need help polishing, I can help polish writing and then getting them published. People would love it. All the gory details about messing with Jenkins or, the struggles we have with hardware.
Right. So I guess on that front, we probably need to spend a bit of time building up the list to be able, before we sort of point to it and say, hey, we're going to regularly mention. Do we have a good enough story at this point?
I think they've just been on for the run for a long enough time, so we cannot see them as old. That's kind of what I meant in terms of think about what we do from a marketing perspective. There's so many unique ways we use the different virtual machines that are available to us. So I'm sure there's tons of stuff in there. Just about how fast we can do tests in specific hosts is an interesting angle in itself.
Yeah, I wonder if we can offer to have the sponsors help us write them. Right, like if this is something they see as a value, would they be interested in, spending some time to write a blog post that highlights the benefits of what they're providing, and then we can fit that in with how we use it in the community.
I mean, we can say this to the sponsor and see what's the reaction about it. I'm not sure that they're willing to it.
I think the other question is, are we comfortable with that, right? Like, or is that going a bit too far?
Yeah, we do have to be careful here because we've got a lot of donations without needing to give much. And if we start committing to giving, it could actually create a workload on us that we're not prepared for. Like even existing donors might start coming to us and saying, well, hey, you're promising this. We want it.
We absolutely should expect to do it for everybody, right?
Yeah, but also, if somebody's coming to us to donate and they're wanting this in return and not some other in-kind benefit like our other donors are doing, then the kind of pressure it puts on us might be unwarranted. Like if we get a Mac, my concern specifically is around a Mac provider, because it's very hard for us to provide other in-kind benefits to a Mac provider unless they're actually using Node in their infrastructure in some way, and so it's important to them. Then if this is the reason they're going to sign up just to get these benefits, then it could create an awkward relationship with them where it's almost tenuous. Where we're not sure if we're going to hang on to this provider this year because we're not sure we've provided enough value. Like that kind of sucks if you think about. That's how we have to prop up our providers. I would almost advocate for let's just get the foundation to pay for it if that's what it came down to.
And also the different types we have in terms of, if you're defining some kind of equality, it's going to be tricky to, people send us a Raspberry Pi a week and just to get a guaranteed tweet. It's just tricky to find this level of equality.
Yeah, and then if like Rod does a blog post on ARM and mentions an ARM provider, then we have to do a blog post on every other platform and cover all the other providers, and like to be fair. And yeah, I think having something like in the website, having a nice splash page that has lots of big pictures saying thank you people who contribute to machines, that's kind of easy, and it should just sit there. We shouldn't be a lot of work going forward. But anything you have to do regularly, I agree, can start to be a burden.
I think the tweet isn't a big burden, so you just need to cite the sponsor and say thanks to all for supporting the build group. Yeah, so the longer we can agree with Tracy, the workload is very low. You
only have so many characters, right? So I agree on that one. It's not that much overhead.
Yeah, I just at least I'm using the word have to. As a group, I think we're super grateful for all the resources we get. It's just a tricky part of figuring out how to properly communicate this.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, I like the tweets. I can almost see we should be able to set it up with the publicity team from the foundation to just say, okay, every 3 months or whatever the right interval is, we want this tweet to go out, which is just reminding everybody a big thanks to our sponsors, and here's the link to the page on the website, right? And blast that out from the Node.js Twitter account. And
yeah, we can do that for sure.
That seems like it's okay. So it sounds like we want to move, do the move to the website. We have a next action on that. I'll talk to Tracy in terms of, is there anything we can get in terms of like them being able to put a sponsor logo or language on their site, and then also on the Twitter account. And then otherwise, I think maybe it sounds like we're triangulating on just leaving it at, and on best effort, we will, mention, of course, if we're doing a talk on the build work group, we'll mention our sponsors. And if we're doing blogs, we'll try and mention our sponsors. But, there's no hard commitments on that front. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Yep. So I've just made an issue, and if we can elaborate on these benefits, then maybe we can actually build up a proper prospectus. It'd be great to have a document we can point to and say that, considering donating, check this out.
This is what you get. Yeah, exactly. I think it'll be, and if we can push forward on those 3 or 4 things, maybe it's, that's our starting point anyway. And if it's good enough, then great. If not, we'll think about it some more.
And any help in pushing forward on this? I mean, I've had to. This has been on my plate for a long time. I just haven't made good progress. So, any help on this would be greatly appreciated.
In terms of the Mac and Stadium, like, is there any value in going back to them to saying, this is what we're thinking? Would that be interesting enough?
Yeah, there is, and actually saying to them, look, we can't offer foundation membership. It's just not within our remit. We're not authorized to do that, and we wouldn't want to set that precedent anyway. But here's what we do offer now. Here's what we're thinking of making formal. What do you think? I mean, I don't want us to prostitute ourselves too much to them and get them to extract as much as they can from us, but actually opening a dialogue just to make sure, because this is a big deal. Like, we've got basically one Mac now doing everything. Yeah, and that's kind of sucks. So, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in terms of the other guys, I basically the Mac in a box. I basically just said, you get the README, you get the we try and mention you at conferences and stuff like that. But so we'll see if they come back with some other suggestion. It sounds like
we need a list of conference talks where we've mentioned this stuff.
Yeah, that would be good. Like, keep a running.
Yeah. I think it's going to be like pretty much every conference now. I think one of us in this group has got that interactive slot. I think that's you, Gibson.
Yep.
Yeah, it's Gibson.
so that, like, pretty much now every main conference is going to have a talk on this stuff, so we can point to that. That'd be great.
Yeah. I think the only thing we'll need on that front is we'll want to line up approval to use their logos. Like I know the last one I did, I just had the names because
Yeah.
my lawyers.
You want a splash page before it starts, right? So when people walk in, they just see like list of sponsors for 10 minutes, you know,
Yeah.
like in your face.
Okay, so Rod, I don't know if you want to push forward with the Max Stadium, or you want to copy me and I can.
Yeah, I'll copy you in. I've got the email open. I'll try and get my head around that today.
One more thing we can add to the sponsorship bag of goodies is those things that you've been doing, Rod, like a quote on their page where they talk about their offering, and we can talk about how we use it.
Yeah, it works both ways for that. Like if they want to have a quote from us, like I did that for Scaleway. Like if you go to the Scaleway website, they've got some quotes from me there, but that works both ways because it promotes us, promotes Node, and helps promote them, and yeah.
That's what I figured. Like the infrastructure provider for Node.js does the same thing, right? It's so yeah. I think those we can be comfortable that we're sort of getting. It's a symbiotic relationship there. Okay, anything more on that topic? Any other
different thing? If we're moving on.
Yep.
I would like to bring up building our downloads with Cloudflare again. Just like a reminder, I think it's between me and Roger this time around again. So if anyone's interested in helping out with getting this entire workflow going, that would be cool. Just having Cloudflare shield this would save us a lot of bandwidth and traffic to our server for just a small win. So what's your take, Rod?
So the current status of that is it's all about the download logs. So we are now fetching the logs from Cloudflare. We need to do a little bit of a historical check to make sure we're actually getting them all according to our script, because it's non-deterministic, which is really annoying. So getting all the logs, and then we need to switch over from parsing the Nginx logs to parsing these JSON things for our metrics. They're the two things that this hinges on. So we've got to make sure that we can A, do that, and B, that it is verified to be, as stable as the other one. As soon as we've got that done, we can just flip the switch. It doesn't matter where anything's served from, as long as we get those logs. This is half done. I've got the code on the web server, like bash script to do some conversion of stuff, but it's tedious, sort of, particularly the verification work, like verifying that these files are big, they're JSON, and there's lots of them. It's 1 per hour, so it's tedious work. But if anyone wants to help with that or take over, I can get someone up to speed. Otherwise, it'll just be on my head again. I'm expecting my time to free up a bit more over the coming months now, particularly having handed off Node Foundation responsibilities, but would love help on this.
Rather decent, right? The files or some other streaming compression format?
Sorry?
The files, JSON files, are they in a streaming format, like a compressed streaming format?
Yeah, they're I'll tell you. We fetch them line delimited JSON, like hour. They're strictly hour based, like start of the hour, end of the hour, and they're compressed in XZ compression on the file system on the Node.js little web server. But one of the nice things is we don't actually need to do it on that server if we wanted to do it elsewhere. There's no good reason not to do it on that server if we're going to take the load off it anyway. But yeah, so XZ compression. But they're still chunky. Like every request has information on the edge location, on the origin server, on the general cache status. Like every line is big. So we're talking around 4 megs per hour.
Well, yeah, we should definitely be doing this in server. We're not doing too much there. So basically, just read it from JSON and parse the information into readable format. Anyone
Sorry, Johan, I don't know if it's anyone else, but you sound like you're in a tank to me.
Yeah, I can't quite follow.
I'm literally almost in a tank. So.
Well, you sound like it, that's for sure.
I was just saying that if anyone listening in wants to help out, this is basically parsing the Cloudflare log format into a similar format that we already have today. And part of these tools are already committed to the build repository. So, Rod, if we don't have a specific enough issue about this, perhaps you can create it.
Sure, I'll do that now.
Yeah, this seems like the kind of thing we could open up and get some more. Like, we need some nice good first contribution issues.
It's not straightforward because it does require some access. That it's not just we can't just give anyone access to this stuff unless there's an intermediary that's doing the go between fetching the logs and publishing them to metrics. Somebody needs to have access to various servers and APIs for this.
So
what we can do, what we can do is at least provide a sample of the JSON data and provide a sample of the expected readable formats.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And files, it needs file system like layout and stuff. So it's got to go from these files to these metrics.
Right. But yeah, it seems like we could get one batch of data and then somebody could work on that offline data.
Sure. Well, maybe I should. The problem is I take these things and say I'll get something ready, but then I end up with 100 things to do and nothing gets done.
Yep.
I'll make an issue and then we can go. At least it'll be on the agenda then.
Okay. So I'll say Rod to create an issue. So I think we're out of time unless there's something key that people think we should discuss.
There's something quick I wanted to ask about. Don't want to keep people too long, but I was wondering if there's already a solution for vendors to mirror the website, the download site. So right now, I think there's an unencrypted version that you can rsync, but that's not secure, so that's a problem. So I'm wondering if there's and the website itself is Nginx HTTP. So we do some brittle parsing to download, but it would be nice if there was a more trusted way of mirroring.
Do you have a suggestion? Because we've been looking for alternatives here, but there's no encrypted version of rsync available. So what is the alternative?
I mean, we looked at this, and I mean, one option is IPFS, and the other option, as you suggested, and I just read your issue, is that we use rsync over SSH, but in my experience, the SSH jails for rsync it's a security thing I'm not too keen on exploring unless anyone else has a lot of experience with it.
Another option would be if the download site responded with JSON, because then you don't have to parse HTML. So we don't have to worry about Nginx getting upgraded and mirroring breaking all of a sudden.
Well, technically you could do that now with the index.json files, but it does require a bit of inference.
I think
the index.json contains the version numbers, but it also contains what binaries, the names of the platforms anyway. So you can infer from that what files you should expect and even their names, but it's not explicit. So we could put an index.json. No, actually, we could some kind of other index that has a list of everything.
I think the auto index module for Nginx supports outputting JSON and JSON or even XML. But I also believe that's one of those modules.
Johan, I got no idea what you're saying there. I don't know if anyone else does, but I doubt it.
Okay.
No. That's a bit better.
It's a bit. I apologize. I'll write it, and someone can just type it in the chat. Okay.
So I'll just read what Johan's writing. So writing instead HTE X AutoIndex module supports inputting JSON, but that's probably not compiled in by default.
No, and there is also another module where you can make your own indexes. I don't think it's AutoIndex, but it's another one where you can have a template. I've been, since the beginning, I've been messing with something like that. But having to compile your own Nginx is not really ideal for us. But if we had to, we could.
Okay, so index.json, actually, I wasn't aware that that existed. So maybe I'll start from there, and then maybe we can take it to the issue tracker.
Okay, sounds good. Just before we go then, I think we should give people who are watching a chance on the IRC channel if they have any questions that they'd like to ask.
Or just in the issue.
Or in the issue, yep, that works too. So we'll just give 1 or 2 minutes to I'm just following. I don't see anything in IRC yet. Don't see any issues. I'll do one more update. The issue, see if there's anything there. No, and still nothing in IRC. So I think that's it. Anything else before we call it a day? No? Okay, then I guess that's it for this week.
Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Nice talking to everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.